Okay, so one last thing I want to go over before we end electron configurations are electrons and magnetism. So remember, I told you information we can get from an orbital diagram, which we cannot get any other way. And then one thing that we can get from it is an idea if an element is magnetic or not. So one thing I want you to realize is that electrons, because they move around, anytime you have a moving electron charge, or moving electric charge, this causes a magnetic field to be produced. So electrons thus behave like tiny magnets. And what we see is that if we have an electron spinning in one direction, it creates a magnetic field pointing in one direction. We have an electron spinning in the opposite direction. The magnetic field which it creates will point in the opposite direction. So what we see is that if all the electrons are paired in the orbitals, they all have opposite spins, and those magnetic fields will cancel each other out. If we have unpaired electrons, which we can see from our orbital diagram, these will lead to magnetic fields that do not cancel each other out, and thus we will get magnetic properties. So something that's ferromagnetic will have a strong permanent magnetism. So what we will see is this is observed with iron and elements similar to iron with a similar number of unpaired electrons. So if looking at this diagram here, we can see that iron has 4 unpaired electrons. So this means that iron has pretty strong permanent magnetism. What will be required is that we will have to actually put the iron into a magnetic field to cause those electrons to all align themselves with that magnetic field, and then that will lead to a permanent magnet. Okay, the next kind is something that is called paramagnetic. This is a substance that will be weakly attracted to a magnetic field. It will have some unpaired electrons, just not as many as iron does. So we see this with sodium and also with oxygen. Sodium has 1 unpaired electron, oxygen has 2. They will both be weakly attracted to magnetic fields. The last one is diamagnetic. This is a substance, no matter what, will never be attracted to a magnetic field. All the electrons are paired. All the electrons have opposite spins which cancel each other out. We see this with zinc. Zinc has no unpaired electrons. It will never be attracted to a magnetic field. So by examining the orbital diagrams, we can predict the magnetic properties of our particular element, and that is one use of our orbital diagrams.